doesn't seem TikTok wants me to make this video. It keeps cutting me off. Maybe it's because, well, it's not hard to put together who Revelations is talking about when it says have wisdom about the number 600, 666. Here is wisdom, let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man, and his number is 666. That is this company. I mean, they really came up after merging with a company that was called Tabulating and Calculating in like 1911. They were the first people to code. And Edwin Black, who was actually a New York Times writer, investigated all this because he said when you go, because you can go to the museums at Auschwitz in Germany, there's certain memorials, and he said everybody would walk past this big IBM thing that now they've gotten rid of, okay? But so he started looking into it. He's like, the big tree was standing there the whole time because Hitler and the SS would have never been able to do anything, would have never killed 6 million Jews. Many of them not even knowing they were Jews, actually, because Hitler, because of IBM's help and because some people stole censuses. Yeah, I'll do another video. This is why God was very serious about who should and shouldn't do censuses. But stealing censuses, IBM had all this. They were able to tabulate, calculate, punch card, everything. And they were the first coders. They were under a different name early on in 1896, and then they merged with a Herman Hollerith was the first one to come up with the calculating system, and then his company, which was called Calculating and Tabulating, merged and became IBM. And IBM has never apologized. They have never owned up to it, and yet there is evidence after evidence that there would have never been the amount of deaths there were without the beast. And there's your data processors, your modern day coders. So just think, that beast, you know how involved IBM is with our healthcare system? No wonder I've seen it get worse. They were able, because they were the people that were involved in organizing the evidence for the Nuremberg trials. They were able to keep evidence out so it didn't implicate them. But there's too much evidence that does implicate them. They just refuse to take responsibility. So just remember this the next time you think, oh, we can just forget about that. No, you can't. They are literally how we got the rest of the companies of tech. And here's the thing. IBM has been heavily involved in creating digital twins of all of us. So do you really want to keep going down this road? I'm sure that back during the Holocaust, before it happened, there were 6 phases of it. IBM was involved in all 6 phases. Oh, of course my phone would do that, right? Because I'm talking about the beast. They were involved in every 6, and the biggest thing is because it was great money, sickening. Just that's the way tech is today. And this is who our government upholds. Our government allows this to be in healthcare. But these were your people that were processing people, giving them numbers. Get to that in a minute. Giving them numbers. So are they going to go to slave labor, and they would work them to death until they could no longer work, and then it was shoot them or send them off to, if they were no good to them for slave labor, then off to the gas chamber. And then that's how you get your number that was tattooed on people. And the highest, the longest the numbers would be as far as each digit was 6. Because early on it started out people would have a tattooed number of 20, 45. But as it went on, before it finally ended, the later people that were grabbed and pulled in, the highest number was 6. And none of this would have been possible without IBM. None of it. They were able to know exactly who the Jews were, even if the Jews themselves didn't know they had Jewish blood. That's how organized and tabulating this all was. Calculating. 12-year-old boy. You could see it there. IBM wasn't just accidentally involved. They purposely were involved and have never paid a price for it. They just have managed to be in total control of everything and still are. So I want to know from our government, I don't give a shit who the president is, why it's being allowed. It needs to be out of healthcare. And you, because, but this is why corporate ends up being, it's corporate genocide. So you can ignore it all and say, oh, that wouldn't happen today. I'm sure they said that back in Germany too. I'm sure they did. I'm sure that as they were labeling them and moving them into ghettos and moving them here, I'm sure there's been many of them that have said, no, we thought somebody would step in. Just remember that, okay? Because when they still let IBM and all these other damn beasts now create digital twins of us, where do you think that will go? I mean, IBM is the supercomputer. And coding all started with them. So just think, 6 million Jews, the highest that the numbers were. I mean, this is what the vision that John in the book of Revelation saw, because it was on their left arm. It was on their left arm that was tattooed, the digits. Sometimes later they also would put a symbol. If they were a gypsy, like if they were a Jew, it would be a triangle after the numbers. That was later on. This was so calculated because of the IBM calculators. Yeah, this isn't something to overlook. This company has never been held accountable. They've never paid a price. They have never even apologized. And this Edwin Blackgold, you can find on YouTube. He tells exactly how they were involved at every step of the way. Without them, they wouldn't have known who all the Jews were. So when everybody says these were fake Jews, no, many of these people didn't know they had Jewish blood. Hitler was able to get the birth records, the genealogy, everything, all because of IBM. You can look up Edwin Black. He was a former New York Times, believe it or not, columnist. And he started investigating it. I mean, there's overwhelming evidence of it. Nobody even denies it. But IBM won't open up any of their archives, of course. That's why there wasn't many people held accountable at Nuremberg. That's why so many people want to get you distracted, except this was 6 million Jews. Gypsies, many people. Polish Jews. It wasn't just Germany. It was all over Europe. And they couldn't have done it without IBM. They couldn't have done it without coders. They couldn't have done it without technology. Proving Jesus' every single word about the prince of the power is the prince of the air. The airwaves, the electricity, all of this. And why did John have the vision of the 666 numbers? Well, 6 million Jews died. It's tattooed on their left arm. He wouldn't have known what that was. They segregated these people. I mean, I'd do another video to go more involved. I'm just letting you know. IBM is literally the prince of the power of the air. Without them, Hitler would have never been able to kill 6 million. Hitler would have never been able to keep track of which ones he wanted to use for labor, the young ones, which ones he just wanted to gas, which ones he wanted to experiment on, all of it. IBM is literally who Jesus was telling you about. And what does our government do? On both sides of the aisle. They support all this technology and ignore the fact that this company was involved in creating digital twins of all of us. So they completely disregard history too. So people better start speaking up about it. It would be a good idea before we go down the same history road. IBM needs to be out. All of tech needs to be out of healthcare. It is literally the reason why it's gotten worse.